watching GVTV News.
Thanks, Gloria, and I'm Randy Hansen. In today's world news headlines, 3 killed in New Jersey shooting. And Romney accepts GOP nomination. And Justice Department rejects prosecutions for CIA torture. And federal court blocks Texas voter ID law. And Isaac heads west as Gulf Coast recovery efforts begin. And administration allows preparatory activities for shell drilling in the Arctic, and the IAEA says Iran doubles enrichment machines at underground site. And Iran leaders renew call for nuclear-free world, and Morsi says solidarity with Syrian uprising and ethical duty. And ban criticizes Iranian government for Israeli comments and Holocaust denial, and panel rejects coup claims in Maldives. And South Africa charges minors in mass killing. And Canada orders deportation of U.S. war resister. And Bradley Manning trial set for February 2013. GVTV News is broadcast for Grass Valley Television, a division of Rural County's television network whose focus is on community involvement, and we also air on NCTV. But before these stories, GVTV News would like to thank one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us, GVTV News. In today's first world news story, a number of people have reportedly been killed in a shooting attack in New Jersey. A lone gunman allegedly opened fire inside a Pathmark supermarket in the town of Old Bridge. At least 3 people, including the gunman, are dead. And Mitt Romney accepted the Republican presidential nomination Thursday night with a vow to revive the U.S. economy and plead to voters disappointed with President Obama's first term. And he said, "How many days have you woken up feeling that something really special was happening in America? Many of you felt that way on Election Day 4 years ago. Hope and change had a powerful appeal. But tonight I'll ask a simple question. If you felt that excitement when you voted for Barack Obama, shouldn't you feel that way now that he's President Obama? You know, there's something wrong with the kind of job he's done as president when the best feeling you had was the day you voted for him." The Justice Department has announced it will not prosecute anyone involved in the killing and torturing of prisoners in the CIA custody over a 3-year investigation. Justice Department had been probing the death of 2 men, one in Iraq and one in Afghanistan. Gul Rahman died in 2002 while being held at a secret CIA facility known as the Salt Pit in Afghanistan. He had been shackled to a concrete wall in near freezing temperatures. Manadel al-Jamadi died in 2003 while the CIA custody in Iraq's notorious Abu Ghraib prison. His corpse was photographed packed in ice wrapped in a plastic. In a statement, Holder said no charges would be brought against U.S. operatives because the admissible evidence could not be sufficient to obtain and sustain a conviction beyond reasonable doubt. Denouncing the decision, the Center for Constitutional Rights said today's announcement belies U.S. claims that it can be trusted to hold accountable Americans who have perpetrated torture of other human rights abuses. Federal court has blocked a controversial voter ID law in Texas, saying it discriminates against people of color. Law requires voters to show their photo identification at the polls, and Texas had hoped to implement it before the November election. But on Thursday, a 3-judge panel in Texas said Texas had failed to prove the law won't harm the voting rights of ethnic minorities. The Justice Department blocked the law earlier this year, warning it stood to disenfranchise at least 600,000 voters, disproportionate numbers of which were Latinos and other minorities. Texas says it plans to appeal Thursday's ruling in the Supreme Court. Well, I think everybody should have ID. Tropical storm Isaac is beginning to head west after lashing the Gulf Coast in the better part of 2 days. Rainfall is continuing. Parts of the Gulf, a slow-moving storm continues to show its wrath. Port of New Orleans and city's airports are expected to reopen after cleanup efforts begin. New Orleans Mayor Mitch Landrieu said the city is not yet in the clear and said the game is not over until the game is over, and a lot of stuff can still happen. We know that because we have past experience is a concrete example of how bad stuff has happened at this point in a storm. So it's important to the people of New Orleans to remember we're just in another phase. And the Obama administration has authorized the oil giant Royal Dutch Shell to begin preparatory activities to oil drilling in the Arctic Sea. On Thursday, the Interior Department said Shell can start its operation but must stop short of actually drilling. The White House has set a deadline on the end of this month to reach a final decision on Shell's drilling bid. Thursday's move suggests it will be approved. And a new UN report says Iran may have expanded its stockpile of nuclear materials for uranium enrichment. In a quarterly report on Iran's nuclear activities, the International Atomic Energy Agency says Iran has doubled the number of enrichment machines it stores in an underground bunker. In Washington, White House spokesperson Jay Carney said Iran is violating its international requirements and said, "We are closely studying the details of the report, but broadly speaking, it is not surprising that Iran is continuing to violate its obligations. As the report illustrates, we are in a position to closely observe Iran's program and to detect any effort by Iran to begin production of weapons-grade uranium." And just to reiterate, the president has made clear frequently that he is determined to prevent Iran from obtaining nuclear weapons. He has led to unprecedented efforts to pressure Iran to live up to its obligations. The IAEA reported comes that Iran continues to host a meeting of the non-aligned movement in Tehran. Addressing the 120-nation gathering on Thursday, Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei repeated his government's insistence on peaceful nuclear program and it calls for a nuclear weapons-free world. He said, "I repeat that the Islamic Republic of Iran is not developing capabilities for nuclear weapons, but also it will not overlook the rights of its people and their needs for access to peaceful nuclear energy. Our motto is nuclear energy for all and nuclear weapons is for none. We stand by both of these mottos, and we know that breaking the biased views of some of the Western countries hold about the production of nuclear energy and the underlying fundamentals is to benefit of all nations." In other news, the non-aligned movement in Tehran, Egyptian President Mohamed Morsi caused a walkout by the Syrian delegation on Thursday when he called for solidarity with the uprising against the Assad regime. And he said, "Our solidarity with the struggle of the Syrian people against an oppressive regime that has lost its legitimacy is an ethical duty, as it is a political and strategic necessity. We all have to announce our full solidarity with the struggle of those seeking freedom and justice in Syria, and translate the sympathy into a clear political vision that supports a peaceful transition to a democratic system of rule that reflects the demands of the Syrian people for freedom." Also speaking at the Non-Aligned Movement Summit in Iran, UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon criticized the host government of Iran for Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, I'm full of marbles today, hostile words for Israel and denial of the Nazi Holocaust. Ban Ki-moon said, "As I have repeatedly stated around the world, I strongly reject the threats by any member states to destroy another and outrageous attempts to deny historical facts such as the Holocaust, claiming that another UN member state, Israel, does not have the right to exist. Describing it as racist terms is not utterly wrong, but undermines the very principle we are all pledged to uphold." And the Commonwealth-backed probe was rejected contention of former Maldives President Mohamed Nasheed that he was ousted in a coup. Nasheed is now being charged with ordering the arrest of a judge appointed by Mamoun Abdul Gayoom, who ruled the Maldives for 30 years before Nasheed became the first democratically elected president in 2008. Nasheed was ousted earlier this year when he was described as a coup and a gunpoint by Gayoom's supporters. Thursday, Commission of National Inquiry in the Maldives concluded Nasheed had resigned voluntarily. Supporters of Nasheed immediately took to the streets to condemn the findings. Nasheed is well known internationally for his activism around the world for global warming, which he says threatens the survival of his island country. The South African government has sparked outrage after bringing charges against striking miners for killing 34 colleagues earlier this month, despite the fact that they were shot dead by police. The victims were killed more than a week after walking off the job at the Marikana Platinum mine. for the call for higher pay. Police say they opened fire after workers tried to attack them with machetes. But the miners have accused the police of committing a massacre. Shooting marked the worst mass killing in South Africa since the end of apartheid. But on Thursday, the South African government invoked the apartheid-era common purpose law to charge 270 miners with their colleagues' death. And the Canadian Immigration Board has ordered the deportation of U.S. war resistors who fled to avoid serving the Iraq War. Kimberly Rivera left the United States in January 2007 along with her husband and 2 children to avoid a second tour of duty in Iraq. And a military judge has set up a trial date for the alleged Army whistleblower Bradley Manning, who is accused of passing classified materials to WikiLeaks. Manning will stand trial on February 4th of next year, close to 3 years after his arrest. He faces life in prison. And that's it for our world news today. Now another thanks to one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us, GVTV News.
Soundcheck Music Center, the rock and roll connection. We have guitars, amps, drum equipment, sound accessories, lessons, and repairs. We are located at 671 Maltman Drive, Grass Valley. 530-272-7236, open 7 days a week.
No one needs anyone, they don't even just pretend. Jonas in America. I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. I'm afraid I can't help it. I'm afraid I can't. I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. I'm afraid I can't.
That's right, it's time for the police blotter and pictures in the blotter, not from these actual events, but used for visual aid only. These public records are obtained from daily logs issued from Nevada County law enforcement. Grass Valley Police Department on Wednesday, 8:13 a.m. A report was taken from 600 block of Maltman Drive of ongoing trespassing issues. At 8:29 a.m. a man from 100 block of Ophir Street reported the theft of medications by a caregiver. At 9:15 a.m. a report was taken from the 200 block of Richardson Street of thefts of belongings. And 12:09 p.m. a woman from 200 block of South Church Street reported a man took her cat. It was found to be a landlord-tenant dispute. At 12:31 p.m. a report was taken from 100 block of West McKnight Way of shoplifting. 2 people were cited and released. And 4 p.m. a report was taken from 200 block of Dorsey Drive of theft from a residence. 4:29 p.m. a report was taken from 200 block of Mill Street of a car possible on fire, which could not be located. And 4:48 p.m. a man from 200 block of Sutton Way reported an unwanted deadbeat son. He was gone when officers arrived. And 6:08 p.m. a report was taken from Dow Alexander Park of a man passed out near the road who was arrested on suspicion of being drunk in public. And 6:49 p.m. a report was taken to 300 block of Bennett Street of physical fight. The suspects were contacted and denied an altercation. 8:22 p.m. a man from 100 block of Colfax Avenue reported having had his bike stolen but was found it in a park. And 8:44 p.m. a report was taken from 400 block of Idaho Maryland Road break-ins into a business and trailers with locks cut. And Nevada County Sheriff's Office on Wednesday, 8:57 a.m. a report was taken from 17,000 block of Lake Vera Purdon Road of possible trespassers last night. A man was lurking around and said he was being chased by a mountain lion. The caller later reported his wallet was missing from his vehicle. 9:17 a.m. a woman from 12,000 block of LeBar Meadow Road reported interrupting a burglary to a residence, with the suspect trying to run her over with the truck and then running away. He was arrested on suspicion of trespassing, grand theft, and violating probation. At 9:47 a.m. a report was taken from 29,000 block of Highway 49 of a woman yelling and pulling papers off a bulletin board before leaving the area. At 11:44 a.m. a report was taken from 10,000 block of Valley Drive of a person causing a family dispute and acting violent, then leaving. And 12:10 p.m. a report was taken from 11,000 block of Brunswick Drive of someone who tried to cut his brake lines. 1:08 p.m. a woman from 12,000 block of South Mac Road reported her daughter grabbed her and threw her. She did not want to press charges. At 1:14 p.m., a woman from 22,000 block of Egbert Hill Road reported being assaulted by a man who was possessing a vehicle. 2:44 p.m., a report was taken from 19,000 block of Tyler Foot Crossing Road of a physical fight involving two men. And 3:53 p.m., a report was taken from Glecko Road of vandalism to several flags. And 5:18 p.m., a report was taken from Highway 20 and Rex Reservoir Road of a physical fight with two vehicles pulled off the road and a crowd watching. Report was taken. And 5:40 p.m., a report was taken from 15,000 block of Tippy Way of hearing 3 gunshots. No one was located. And 6 p.m., a report was taken from 11,000 block of Avern Way of identity theft. At 6:48 p.m., a report was taken from burglary to a vehicle, 2 purses stolen in Highway 49 near South Yuba River. At 7:44 p.m., a woman from 12,000 block of Alpha Road reported theft of her dog. The situation was mediated. And Thursday, 7:09 a.m., a report was taken from Scotts Valley Road of someone possibly cooking drugs. Nevada City Police Department on Wednesday. 11:52 a.m., a report was taken from 800 block of Zion Street of identity theft. And 12:42 p.m., a report was taken from Robinson Plaza of a man named Garlic who had been in a women's restroom for 30 minutes. He was moving on. And 7:56 p.m., a report was taken from 500 block of Coyote Street of a possible computer scam. And that's it today for The Blotter. Now another thanks to one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us, GVTV News. Christopher's Old World Deli and Catering Company has brought its delicious food and service downtown Grass Valley. Like desserts? They got 'em. You like international style lunches? They got 'em. Christopher's Deli and Catering for parties, get-togethers, weddings, or whatever. Open 7 days a week. In today's local news headlines, many U.S. schools are unprepared for another pandemic. A knife robbery interrupted by GVPD. And death threats to sheriff and family puts man behind bars. In a story written by L. Sevier, less than half the U.S. school addressed pandemic preparedness in their school plan. Only 40% have updated their school plan since 2009, the H1N1 pandemic. According to a study published in September, issued by the American Journal of Infection Control, official publication of the Association for Professionals in Infection Control and Epidemiology. A team of researchers from St. Louis University collected and analyzed survey responses from approximately 2,000 school nurses serving primary, elementary, middle, and high schools of 26 states to ascertain whether schools were prepared for another pandemic, particularly focused on infectious disease disasters. Pandemic preparedness is critical not only because of the ramifications of 2009 H1N1 pandemic, but for other things such as severe acute respiratory syndrome. School preparedness for all types of disasters, include biological events, is mandated by the U.S. Department of Education. The team found that less than 1/3 of the schools, 29.7%, stockpile any professional protective equipment, and nearly 22.9%, or a quarter, have no staff members trained on school disaster plans. 1/3, 33.8% of schools reported training a student in infection prevention less than once per year. Only 1.5% of schools reported stockpiling medication in anticipation of any pandemic. On a positive note, although only 2.2% of schools require school nurses to receive an annual influenza and vaccine, the majority, 73.7%, reported having been vaccinated for the 2010-2011 season. Findings from the study suggest that most schools are even less prepared for an infectious disease disaster such as a pandemic compared to a natural disaster or other types of events, said Terry Redman, a PhD RN, and that was a study on environmental and occupational health in St. Louis University School of Public Health. Despite the recent H1N1 pandemic that disproportionately affects the school-aged children, many schools do not have plans to adequately address future biological event. Researchers conclude that U.S. schools must continue to address gaps in infectious disease emergency planning, including developing better plans, coordinating these plans with local and regional disaster response agency plans and plans for disasters and drills and exercises. Whenever possible, school nurses should be involved in these planning efforts, as healthcare professionals can best inform school administrators about unique aspects of pandemic planning that needs to be included in school disaster plans. And according to Captain Rex Marks of the GVPD, several officers responded to a report of a fight at the 300 block of East Main Street. Officers found two men fighting. One of them tried to flee and was allegedly seen disposing of an items found to be a switchblade knife and some contraband drugs. That was Thursday night, about 3:30 a.m. This man, identified as Trent David Crove, a 28-year-old living in Grass Valley, who was then arrested for suspicion of robbery, assault with a deadly weapon, carrying a switchblade, and battery, and held in lieu of a $51,750 bail. Victim, unidentified, was not injured, and officers at the scene were told this was possibly drug-involved, money or drugs, and trades. Mr. Trent Crove was taken to Wayne Brown Correctional Facility. A concerned citizen contacted Nevada County Sheriff's Office after hearing a conversation by Richard Irwin Gilbert, 58, of Rough and Ready, a handyman, and another person in a restaurant in Penn Valley. In the conversation, caller had allegedly heard Gilbert make deadly threat remarks about Sheriff Keith Royal and his family. Officers with a search warrant arrested Gilbert near his home, and upon searching his residence, allegedly found a large number of weapons which were confiscated. Richard Gilbert has no prior criminal record, but was charged with felony counts of making threats to an elected official. He pled not guilty last Thursday in Nevada County Courthouse session. He remains in Wayne Brown Correctional Facility with $50,000 bail and is scheduled back in court on September 13th. That's it for local news today. We would like to thank Amy Goodman, Reuters, Associated Press, Ubinet, Sierra Foothills Report, The Union, local law enforcement, and others for the sourcing of our news, and you for watching. Remember, we are the only visual video news media in Nevada County, and we are free for you to watch 7 days a week. If you have local stories and would like to have them aired on our news, please email us with the story to 750 words, and if you have pictures, please include them in the email to grassvalleytelevision@gmail.com. Please include some type of contact information for verification of facts. You can watch this broadcast on Comcast Cable, NCTV, Channel 11 in Nevada County, 8 a.m., 3 p.m., 7:30 p.m., Monday through Friday, 10:30 a.m., Saturday, and 8 p.m. Sunday, and Suddenlink Channel 16 in Truckee and Alta-Sierra, same times. We also are streamed on the internet, NCTV's Digital Media Center website at nevadacountytv.org, and our website, gvtv.org. And don't forget Grass Valley Television, that plays 24/7 on the net, grassvalleytelevision.com. We post to Facebook, YouTube, blip.tv, and many other sites, and have RSS feed and video podcasts on iTunes. Just search under Video Podcast for GVTV News. Grass Valley Television also videotapes local events around Nevada County. If you have a need for video, you can contact us for more info at grassvalleytelevision@gmail.com or 530-362-8889. This show produced by Grass Valley Television of Rural Counties Television Network. We hope you will stay tuned to us for this next season, as we're going to spice up the news in the future. You can always email us ideas and comments, and if you like us on Facebook, we like that. News Player can be embedded on your site, or you can go to our sites, which we had already mentioned. Due to the lack of underwriters this year, we will be doing 3 shows a week, playing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, Saturday, Sunday editions. We should be expanding when we get more community support. Grass Valley Television works hard to bring you news and entertainment from around the world and local content you do not get on mainstream media. We want to expand and improve what you see, and we need your help. If you support this program and want to